Hello, this is Lex Berman, and I'm going to introduce the Temporal Gazetteer web service that was developed at Harvard Center for Geographic Analysis. This web service is also called TGAZ, and it's based on an earlier web service that was an XML schema developed for the China Historical GIS. And in that schema we identified various characteristics of each historical record that was a historical place name, and they had characteristics like vernacular name, alternate name, and the feature types, and it was very much specifically designed for the China Historical GIS. And the Temporal Gazetteer web service is designed to create a much more generic database which has place name objects with as many spellings in as many different types of scripts as you need. It has a feature ontology and capability of handling dates and other kinds of references for these historical places. We've succeeded in implementing it, and we now have a multilingual proof of concept for Russia, the Historical Gazetteer of Russia, and that was created by an OCR of a historic document that's available online from HathiTrust. And each entry in that historical Russian gazetteer was parsed into a database that I ingested into the TGAZ system. So now when you look up these historical Russian names, you could find a canonical record for it that has the original text that was extracted from the scanned document and a URI that would take you to the original source document itself. So that's like one of the functions of this historical gazetteer, is to be able to incorporate content from different gazetteers. So essentially, we took the China historical gazetteer and we took, for example, the Russian gazetteer. We brought them into our new gazetteer schema, and from that we can output through our API many different formats of data like JSON, HTML, XML, which is based on our earlier service, and RDF. Now, RDF is really useful because it's an interchange format that was designed together with the Pelagios platform, and that's a Mellon-funded project called Pelagios, and it's designed to create linked open data of historical objects and their locations in gazetteers. So we've now done that, and we're working with Pelagios, which I'll show you in a moment. And we're also working on the idea of an editing interface which will allow us to update and revise the contents of the database. So in terms of the interoperability with other projects, the TGAZ Open API, which already works and is online, available for anyone to use, can create this RDF format. And that interchange format was developed with Pelagios in mind. So when I create a dump of the entire database in a serialized version of that RDF file, Pelagios can then import it into their database, and the map that you're seeing on the right is a heat map that's generated by the Pelagios system, showing the concentration of place name locations that were imported from this TGAZ API. And they have a user interface called Recogito, which is used for marking up text and maps. And basically you load a text into the system, you can turn on the editing function and mark up different words in the text that are going to be toponyms, and then you can go to a geo-resolution stage which lets you then pick names from a gazetteer, and you can double click and see detailed records that you can choose from, and then they can be corresponded to those toponyms in the ancient texts. The same thing can be done on historic maps. You can annotate the maps and then do the geo-resolution step there. Now, the TGAZ API also has JSON format, which we're using to embed into an editing interface, and then we'll use that JSON interface to create revisions that will flow back into the database. And as I said, all this is available live online. Just to play with it, you would go to the website and you would click on one of these examples, for example this one, and see a few results, and here's the canonical result, which you could get in all these different formats. So that's essentially how it works in 5 minutes. Be sure to visit our website and find out more details right here. CHGIS HMDC Harvard EDU TGAZ. Thank you.